Look at all these people. Gabby?
Hello.
Well?
I really like the matching quarter zips, Friedman and
Oh,
Mark.
it's kind of a backup team. It's really Tara and Mark and I doing the behind her.
I like it.
Thank you.
It was Mark's idea, though.
Yeah. Evie went away. Hi, Evie. Welcome back.
Well, I suppose that we can go ahead and get started. It looks like we've got a great group of students here tonight ready to learn about our program. So I will go ahead and share my screen.
Wait. Before you do that, Tara, before you do that,
Yeah.
come back. Tell them who you are.
Oh, well, okay.
No, say hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Hoppy. I'm one of the assistant directors in the Institute. I guess we can start now with introducing Jim and Mark as well.
But they know us.
They do?
They kind of do, because most of these people have survived some form of 252 and 251. A few of them tried 351 and 321.
A few of them have tried.
Go on, Mark.
I'm just waiting to get into the program here.
No, go, Mark.
So I get to work with Tara.
That's it?
Yeah.
Hey, I get to work with Tara too, and absent coronavirus, you would know Tara very well, because she is kind of the core of the entrepreneurship program. She is the reigning, longest surviving assistant director.
That just means I can take a lot of torture.
Exactly. Okay, you can go to the, I just wanted everybody to see your smiling face.
Okay.
Well, what it really also means relative to where we are tonight talking about our Altman Summer Scholars Internship Program is that Tara's been behind the scenes getting this thing, standing it up and getting it running over the last 3 years. So she'll be able to help us answer any of the logistics questions along the way.
I've been helping behind the scenes is what I've been doing. I've been helping behind the scenes.
We're not going to obligate you.
So
Is this
want
going
to
to be in
introduce
presentation view?
what now?
I just wondered if this is going to be in presentation view, but okay, go on.
Are you seeing presentation view?
No, I'm seeing what's coming up next and all that other stuff.
Oh, well, I don't know. Let's bring this over here and share a different screen. Can you see my baby now?
We cannot see your baby, but we can see all.
All right, let's see.
Mark, are you seeing all the screens? And there you go.
There we go.
That's it.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Take notes. There'll be an exam on this shortly.
It's all being recorded, so you can catch up with it later. So the Altman team, as you've already met, is Dr. Friedman and Professor Lacker. And soon to be the new lead is, Bethany Allen. And I just realized we didn't put in Bethany's name. But I think several of you have already received some emails from Bethany. I know if you're on our listserv, which I think you all should already be on our listserv, you've received emails from Bethany, but she is going to be the new program coordinator, project coordinator for the Altman Summer Scholars Internship Program. So if you have questions about host companies in particular, you'll want to go to Bethany, and then you can see what Dr. Friedman kind of specializes in and Professor Lachter specializes in. Pretty much you can come to anyone on the team to ask questions, because we pretty much all know the program in and out. But here tonight, we also have a couple of guests that Mark is going to introduce for us.
So Milana Yarbrough and Danielle Rubin were two of the 44 Altman summer interns that we had this past summer. And we've invited them tonight to share a little bit about their experience. And we'll start with Milana, and if you could, talk about the organization you worked in, your roles, some of the things that you learned and were able to do, but also the value that you added to the organization, and perhaps a thought or two about the Altman program itself. So Milana, do you want to start us off?
Of course. Thank you, Mark. I'm literally so excited to be able to come back and talk about this experience. And it's kind of crazy because literally a year ago, I was sitting in a room learning about the experience, thinking like, wow, it's going to be great. But this summer definitely went above and beyond my expectations, just in the aspect of growth and development. And I was really appalled and shocked about how much autonomy and opportunity I had over the summer. Just given my role as an intern, I was really treated as an employee, and I loved it. So first I interned at a company called Organize 365, and it's led by a woman named Lisa Woodruff, and it focuses on home organization. Like they do Friday work boxes, binders, they have podcasts to talk about productivity, how to progress or kind of better yourself in a group setting as well as individually. But it was honestly incredible. So my role, I was originally told that I was going to be doing SEO, which is search engine optimization for them. They had blog posts that they were going to transfer to a new website. So they needed somebody to go in, make sure that they had keywords, that the website and the links were working correctly, and that everything was functioning the way that it needs to be and in the best possible way. So I did that for about a while. I had over 350 blog posts that I had to optimize and make sure they were good. But one of the things that I loved was that they allowed me to adapt to the environment that I was in a remote environment. They were super accommodating. And one of the things that I also really loved was that they allowed me an opportunity to grow and really add value in the ways that were accustomed to me. So over the summer, I had an opportunity to meet with the CEO and have just a conversation about life, my experience, her experience, just different things. And a lot of things that we talked about were our common values with inclusivity and making sure that everybody felt like they were being heard, that they were able to navigate the new climate that we're in, creating environments where people are able to be vulnerable and grow and learn from each other. And I never thought that from that conversation, I would be asked to be on her podcast talking about inclusivity and talking about experiences. And from that, I got another role within that company, which was being a Facebook moderator. She was like, I think that you're really good at, seeing both sides. I think that you're really good at listening and asking good questions. So do you mind being a moderator on our Facebook group and making sure that people feel heard and valued in that space? And I'm like, sure, of course. So that was the second role that I got in that internship. And then further along the line, she was like, hey, like, I really want to make sure that the organization of, I think it has 20 or so employees, that we are all equipped to help our environment be as inclusive, as conscious as possible when it comes to anything like race, religion, being in a marginalized or minoritized group. Like, can you help us? And at first I was like, I'm only, a 20-year-old. I'm only a student. Like, I don't think I'm qualified to do this. But after having conversations with, of course, my dad, but really great counsel like Mark, I think that's a really big thing in the Altman program, is having counsel like Dr. Friedman and like Mark to be able to lean on during times of uncertainty where you don't know how to navigate the ambiguity in the way that you would like. You're able to lean on them. And after having conversations with Mark, I was like, okay, like maybe experience doesn't equal ability. So what am I going to do to tap into my experts that I know, tap into the resources that I have, so I can make sure that I'm helping equip myself and the company to help with this. So I talked to an expert named Diana Patton, who does DE&I training for a living, and I was able to create my own kind of slide deck and my own program as to how we can make the workplace the best it can be. And so I was able to lead that. So that was my third role within one company over the summer. I was a marketing SEO intern. I was also someone who did the DE&I training, which I never thought I would do. And then I also did their Facebook moderating. So overall, that was pretty long, but it was a really, really good experience. And I think it allowed me to grow professionally. And it allowed me to have this sort of sense of autonomy, and I'm able to take charge and I'm able to shape the ways that I want to add value. And they are adding value on both ends. So like, I'm learning, I'm gaining experience, but I'm also saying like, hey, this company is better because I was there, and I'm able to speak to that when I go to different interviews or just in class. I'm able to apply those things like that, learning how to show up when you don't feel like showing up sometimes, especially in a remote environment, and adapting to COVID or just the environment around us. I think it's great. And I would recommend it to anybody, especially if you're able to have great advisors like Mark and Jim. So that's the end of my spiel. It's a great, great summer, and I'm glad that you guys are here.
Thank you, Milana, for sharing all that. Danielle, you were with an organization based out of San Diego by the name of Impact Partners, and if I'm correct, you were the very first intern they had. Tell us about your summer.
Yeah, so my summer was just amazing. There's no other way to put it. The process, even before getting hired by Impact Partners, I think is really necessary to talk about, because you'll learn in a second. But basically how it works is our amazing Altman supporters like Professor Friedman and Lacker and Bethany and Tara, they all give us opportunities, and it's our responsibility to interview and get them. And as you know, COVID hit, and when that happened, half of the class, so about 20 students, including myself, hadn't found an internship yet, and other interns were losing their internships because companies couldn't sustain them anymore. So at that time, I was kind of like, well, great, there goes my summer. Like, I'm not going to be able to do anything. And in the complete entrepreneurial attitude of dealing with ambiguity, the team pushed so hard that like I can't even express to you guys. I was getting emails from Mark and Becca, who used to be a program coordinator, every single day with new opportunities, so that not only I knew I was going to have an internship, but that I had options to choose from. So during that second round of pushing and asking more alumni and more connections through Miami, Impact Partners came to fruition, and Kate Warner, who's the founder and CEO at Impact, she decided to open up an internship, even though she'd never, ever, ever had an internship. And she had just only hired her first official employee, who's actually also a recent Miami grad. I don't know if you guys know B. Newberry, but she's amazing. So I applied for Kate's internship with, again, the help and support of the team. They reviewed and tore apart my resume for the best. And I got hired, which was amazing. And I had had internships before this experience, but none of them had been quite the same, mainly because at Impact Partners, just like Milana was saying, it's really a job. Like, you're not an intern. You are considered a part of the team. You're expected to show up, and they're giving you assignments that are a big deal. I was making really in-depth competitive analyses that affected decisions that we made when we formed the branding of Impact Partners. I had a voice. I was listened to, you know, like I was starting conversations that Kate and B were actually considering when building this brand new program that the company would grow into. And I was really just a team player in building Impact Partners. It was a really big growth stage. So she's a consultant for nonprofits, and she kind of transforms them into social enterprises, which is a really big place in my heart because I love social entrepreneurship. So that was a really cool experience that I got to be an intern in that environment. So anyways, she used to consult one-on-one, and now she's making the transition into becoming like an online accelerator so she can reach a wider customer base. So I was a part of like figuring out how to take all the information in her brain and putting it into this online format. And I was doing really important work, and I actually still am. She invited me to stay on with her, and at the end of the summer we had a really good conversation, and she basically told me that she sees me as an Impact Partners team member, and I just have to get over this little bridge called college. So I can't explain enough like how much the Altman team really got me there. You can get an internship on your own, and that's completely fine, but this program just it gets you there in a completely different way, and it gets you to a really more important destination. You know, they prepare you to go through those interviews, and they support you when you're crying and you didn't get the interview, and they help you move to the next thing that's even bigger and better. So that was my experience, and I can definitely answer any questions or elaborate later on if you guys want me to.
Milana, thank you. Hey, Tara, do you want to pull down the next slide?
Yep.
We'll talk a little bit about some of the things that both Milana and Danielle referred to in terms of the structure of the program and the philosophy of the program. So if we can get to there we go.
Oop. There we go.
This is companies, unless they're really big, you guys, companies that are medium size or younger or rapidly growing or smaller, those are different categories, tend to view internships as a bit of a challenge to them because they think the intern they're getting is not very well trained and will require a lot of supervisor time. When we put the Altman program together, we approached it differently. And this started in 2013. Our program, by design from the ground up, is a structured program. And what Danielle referred to and what Milana referred to as host companies, there are organizations that Tara reaches out to, that Bethany reaches out to, that I reach out to, that Jim reaches out to, that other members of our team, Michael Conger, Chris Sutter, Brett Smith, Tom Hoyer in particular, reach out to curate. And what we explain to them, to the companies, is our program's structured and it's based around creating a triple bottom line. The first bottom line is for the company, that you're going to have an Altman Summer Scholar that is there and will create value for you. But in return, you've got to provide meaningful projects. So not just stuff to keep them busy, but rather identify projects that would help move their company forward. The second bottom line that we explain to the host companies are that our students, our interns are there to learn and to grow. And through completing the projects, build a portfolio at the end of the summer. And it's that portfolio that Jim and I use to help prepare you at the end of the summer to then go through the interview cycles. The interview cycles of career services, spring ice, and other interview cycles you'll be in. And the third bottom line is effectively what you've just heard from Milana and Danielle. After a summer like this, we want our Altman interns to come back into our classroom and our co-curricular activities and to be leaders and share their experiences and their point of view and the things that they've learned. So we've created a structured program that's unlike most other programs other universities are offering. It's for all tracks. We had, I notice George is not colored in here. We had a student in a Fortune 500 company in Atlanta, Georgia this summer in their innovation department. And she worked on a new product launch for instance. So multiple cities, all tracks, whatever students are in a particular city, they become a cohort. So in a non-COVID summer, we would meet physically from time to time over the summer and virtually now, as we did this summer, and we will go to host company visits, and Jim will explain what we do and what the purpose of those are shortly. The faculty support that Milana and Danielle referenced come in two flavors. One, Jim and I have created a course this spring. It's ESP 394 that Jim will walk you through in a little more detail. And the purpose of that is so that you can become you're prepared to be a rock star in a summer internship. That's why the course exists. Throughout the summer, you'll keep a weekly log of some of the things that you're doing. Jim and I will correspond with you each week. If you're having some challenges, we're there to help suggest some remedies or perhaps some tools that could help with whatever the assignment is. So everybody's welcome. Some of you as co-majors are required. We curate a number of host companies, but as Danielle mentioned, you're also free to find your own. And one of the Altman interns this past summer worked as a PR intern, also on a product launch for West Elm, a division of Williams-Sonoma based in New York. And that was a position that she had found on her own. Those are also fair game as well. So with that, Jim, if you'd like to talk a little bit more about the host company visits, the support in the summer, and in particular ESP 394 and what we do there and what they need to do to get ready for that.
Absolutely. So the site visits, so again, to put a real fine point on what Mark is saying, this is more than a class. This is more than a class. This is really something that we are thrilled and proud to be able to offer in the Altman Institute because it's a differentiator, because it makes you better, because it shows us off, because of the comments that we continually hear from host companies, because of the number of, and Mark, why don't you give them the final, how many of the 44 were hired to continue getting paid over the fall? Now you got to unmute.
22 of them, Jim. So 50% were asked to stay on, which is a pretty astounding number for a summer internship program during a pandemic when most companies were attempting to cut back. They found that much value.
That's what this is about. We are providing you value through what is a tremendously innovative class. One of the things is because you are a cohort, both as a class and to some extent within the city that you're in, that we schedule 3 to 5 site visits over the summer. Now, when there aren't site visits, I mean, if we happen to be sequestered again, this past year because of COVID, we had to do them digitally, and we had some really spectacular speakers, some people who came in and really delivered powerful insight behind the scenes that makes everybody better. But one of the great things is that we will come to New York or Chicago or Cleveland, Cincinnati. We'll go to a company, and the heads of the companies will take you through, show you what they do, why they do it, how they set things up. And as you see in the picture, answer your questions, give you insight, give you background. 3 times, 5 times throughout the semester, and we'll let you know when. We let the companies you work for know that this is going to happen, that there will be a day that you need to get off at 5:30. We'll have dinner and talk with the executives. And then after an hour or so, they leave us alone and we talk about what's going on in your internships, in your work. And so you get from your group insight on what's going on with them, and we get to talk about what's going on with you. It's a great learning opportunity. Next, Tara. This is what it's for. This is a workshop for the low, low price of $500. Let me tell you what a spectacular deal this is. It used to be that this was a summer course, which means 3 credits, which is what, $3,000–4,000 over the summer. And students were saying, why am I working all summer $3,000 or $4,000 and paying $3,000 or $4,000 for credit? We don't like that. And we said, okay, we'll make it a spring class and save you $3,000 or $4,000. We'll give you an incomplete at the end of spring semester, and we'll make it a workshop over the summer. And the workshop fees over the summer is for management by the university, multiple meetings. It's and we do return unused funds to the students at the end. But this keeps the workshop going. This keeps the summer part going. This allows us to buy you dinner and let's see, in the past, take you to FC Cincinnati games or a Reds game, or I think Chicago Cubs games if we're in Chicago. Those kinds of things as a cohort to get out of the business a little bit and have a little bit of summer together as a group. This is $394, ESP $394. This is 3 credits. It is a co-requisite to the program. It is required. It is Tuesday and Thursday from 11:40. If you have any interest in being in this class, keep that open. Do not schedule another class. That has to be open on your schedule. If you have a conflict, if you're studying abroad, we need to talk about that. It makes it difficult, but there may be ways around it. The summer performance is part of your spring semester grade. Your grade will be an incomplete. So that's how we've set this up. It is now a requirement for all of you. You must take it your junior year, okay? Co-majors have priority. If you're a co-major, you have a priority for this class. If you're a minor, you're just gonna have to talk to me. And if there are spots or spaces or works, then we can talk about that. But we expect that by the time you start your internship, you will have had all 3 200s, 201, 251, 252. And we prefer to you that you at least had 1 300 level course. So if you have not, let's talk about that. Our recommendation is please apply. You can apply and not get in. You can apply and have the conversation. You can apply and decide you don't want to do it. That's cool. But apply so that we can get you into the program. The final thing, Tara. Mark and I have designed and are designing a course that is called Applied Entrepreneurship. We've taught it in its present form twice. There are things that we love about it. There's stuff that we want to change about it. And so we're constantly tinkering with it and making it better. We do soft skill readiness. That is more important than the hard skills. We talk about networking. We talk about interviewing. We talk about making sure that you are ready day one to walk into those companies and know what you need to do in order to crush it. We make sure that you have the technological skills in order to be ready for whatever comes up for these internships. Keep the time open, okay? If you have any questions on this, let me know. The class, it's not a terribly intense class because a lot of it is conversation. It runs like a cohort. It runs like a team. It runs like a answering questions and moving you forward and answering your questions and need to know and giving you the connection. And this is most important, the connection between what we told you in class and how that's going to manifest itself when you walk into a company. And that's why we believe that it makes you even more ready than any others. So let me know if you have questions on that. Cool?
Thank you, Jim. So as Mark and Jim both mentioned already, you are able to either find your own internship or intern at one of the partner companies that we curate for you. So let's talk for just a minute about finding your own internship. So you can search different sites. You know, we have TechCrunch, VentureBeat, HCDC, and Built in Chicago on here, but you are welcome to use your own network to find internships on your own. What you'll want to do is be sure that the internship is approved by our program. And there is a requirements list that kind of helps outline what our requirements are so that as you're reaching out to your own companies, you have some parameters that you can kind of discuss with them. Before you sign on the dotted line saying that you are going to intern with a company, it is my suggestion that you consult with Dr. Friedman, Professor Lacker, Bethany, one of the team, to make sure that it's going to be accepted as a host company. We just don't want the rigor of the internship to be less than what we would accept it to be. So you really need to make sure that it's approved, make sure that the company understands what our program is all about. And then once you get that approval, then you'll end up you want to sign a contract with the number of hours that you're going to be working in the internship, the amount of compensation that they're going to be giving you, and any responsibilities that you might have during the summer. So that kind of takes care of option one. Option two is interning with one of our partner companies. So what that looks like is, you know, these organizations on the list, plus many more that might be available, again, for this coming summer. What will happen is the companies are going to provide us with their job description and the role that they want to fill. And sometime in late January, we will open up a job board of all of the different companies that have agreed to take a look at our applicants, and then they will show the roles and you will begin to apply to them. And it varies somewhat. Some organizations you'll apply directly to their platform, and others you'll apply through our platform, which is really saving in a Google Drive for a particular company. And then eventually we'll share all of your applications with the companies, and then it's up to them to decide who they'd like to interview. Just keep in mind that you are going to be competing amongst yourselves for these internships. So there are, there are 50, roughly 50, maybe 60 of you. And, we're going to work our best to get as many opportunities as we can of jobs. But if you're able to find a company where you're assured that you would be completing projects of importance and working with top management, and you're excited about the opportunity, maybe that's something you should consider as well. So kind of keep both options available. Just to go over a bit of the timeline. Again, as Dr. Friedman mentioned, when you're registering for your spring classes, leave the slot open from 11:40 to 1 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then you're going to do a registration override request for the ESP 394. November 15th is the deadline to submit your application. All of you have access to that. It was at the very bottom of all of the email communication. So you're gonna get your application in no later than November 15th. So you have roughly a month to do that. In mid-December is when we will notify you regarding whether or not you were accepted into the program, and then Dr. Friedman will be approving those RORs for you, and you'll be entered into ESP 394. Again, late in January, I mentioned, is when you will have access to our partner company applications, but you can start your search anytime. Then mid-February is when we tell our host companies that we're going to be sending all of the applicants' information. So that's when applications are going to stop, and you're going to be kind of just in a waiting pattern at that point, because we'll be sending those applications off, and companies are going to be taking a look at them and making decisions about who they want to interview. And then finally, we really do ask our host companies to make the decision on who they're going to hire sometime around mid to late March. We prefer it to be mid-March, but sometimes it's in later March. And like I said, many of you are going to be in a holding pattern, and you're going to be nervous and not knowing, like, okay, did I get it? Did I not? But you'll just need to practice some patience at that time. And if you haven't found anything at that point, that's when we're going to be working with Dr. Friedman, Professor Lacker, and Bethany. All of the team is going to have your back, and we're going to work as hard as we can to find you something. So I'm gonna stop sharing here and just open it up, I guess, now. Mark, Jim, do you have anything to add? Or should we open it up for questions?
I think we should, I think there's one other thing I think we want to add. Once you are done with the semester and you go off, Mark and I are in touch with you continually over the summer. You are submitting a weekly log or every other week log of what you're working on, how you're feeling about things, questions you have, struggles you're having, things you're learning. And the number of times that that students call us over the summer and say, I have this situation, I just want to get some perspective, is, I think, what a lot of this is all about. So that is another thing that I look forward to and very much appreciate about this. So what questions do you all have?
I didn't completely understand when you were talking about site visits. Is that something that the students
No,
go
that's
to,
not,
or is it with you and Mark would come to our site?
it's Mark and I, let's say that you're interning in Chicago. Let's say that 20 of you are interning in Chicago. One of the coolest places in Chicago is a company you've never heard of before called Narrative Science. They do stuff that is next generation, next level cool. So we go to their site, we go to their offices, we have dinner with their president while he talks to all of the 20 about what they do and how they do it, answers your questions. So that's the site visit. We come up to Chicago to spend the time with you, and you all come from your internships to be a part of that. The site visit in Cincinnati, oftentimes we go down to the innovation place at Garage Group. Another place we might go, I don't know that any of you have been, is 167. The inside innovation arm of Fifth Third. Just places that are really interesting that give you another perspective on what is available for you after college.
The purpose of the site visits really are twofold. One is we'd like you, besides the company you're working with and getting to know, to see some other companies and to understand sort of their niche, their industries that they're in, the founder story or the president's story from a strategy standpoint, so that you've got some sight line into potentially some other opportunities or a thought process about maybe this would look appealing to me if I wanted to pursue it post-grad. And then the second part that Jim has mentioned a couple of times is to bring us all together, because the site visits are two-part. One is with the founder, the other part is just with us. And we talk about how's it going? How's the internship going? What are we experiencing? What are we learning about? And it's just one more way of support for you.
Thank you.
More questions? Be curious. It's on your mind right now. Speak it.
How does this fit with the other? I know in the summer meeting we had, there was a talk of a summer class through the entrepreneurship program for like global. Actually, I'm not sure what the scoop is with that class anyway, but how would other classes fit with this?
Other classes do not fit with this.
Okay.
This is what you do. This is your summer. Do not try to overdo it. You want to focus. You want to crush this. This is your talking point. This is going to be a very strong recommendation to you as you go out into the next level.
So the majority of the companies seem to be startups. Is that just something that you look for because that'll allow for more personal involvement, or Just can you speak to that a little bit more?
I don't know that that's true. A lot of the companies are startups, but some of them are in the social realm. Ocean, Flywheel, Sweet Cheeks, Impact Partners. We try to find them in all kinds of different places, in all kinds of industries to fit a lot of your interests.
Yeah, the other thing I would add there too, while some of them may be younger, that doesn't make them necessarily startups anymore. Jim had mentioned Narrative Science in Chicago. Red Shelf is another one there. Go Health is another one there. These are companies that have raised Series C and beyond money, 50, 60, 80, $100 million. They're growing quickly. They have lots of employees. The nature of what we're looking for, though, is do they have entrepreneurial internships where you have some autonomy and the ability to affect outcome?
We are not sending you out to answer phones, run errands, empty garbage. We're sending you out to make a difference.
I've got a question. So does the role have to be specifically like an internship, or could it be partnering with a business? Like,
Tell us what you're thinking specifically.
Like, my roommate and one of his friends just applied for a business license, and they're interested in looking at having me join on the team. Would I be able to have that work with the Altman?
I'll give you my answer on that, Bradley.
Yeah.
I want you to intern with somebody dramatically smarter than you. I'm not looking for you just to do some work. I see value in what you're talking about doing.
Okay.
But one of the great values of the Altman internship program is you being with a professional who can take a look at your work and say, hey, there are other ways to do that. What if you try it this way? Or that's not good enough, or whatever. So, Mark, you want to add to that?
The design of the program from ground up, from day one, is that you're working in a professional environment where, you know, part of this value add of your growth is through your work, but it's also through the conversations you're having with your supervisor and the management team. When John Altman originally thought about endowing this program, and he's provided some early support, his notion was that for students to learn entrepreneurship, they need to be around practicing entrepreneurs that have been through the struggles, so that we have another way of learning, not just about the process of entrepreneurship, but about the strategy behind the decision making that entrepreneurs make. So in that regard, we would look for something just a little more mature.
Anybody else?
Is
I have a
someone
question.
able to do? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, Charlotte, you're on.
Is someone capable to do like classes as well as the internship?
No classes while you're doing the internship. It is a full-time, it's a full-time job.
Okay, so it runs the entire summer.
It does.
Okay, great. Thank you.
The other question.
So I live in Cincinnati, and I know Daniel mentioned that she got an internship somewhere that wasn't her hometown. So where, like, if I wanted to go find an internship in San Diego, would I get a stipend for living there, or is that on me to figure that out?
It's on you to figure that out. There's another factor in this as well. We don't know when COVID ends, and we don't know what the policy is about organizations having people in their offices. That didn't happen much at all this past summer. Google, for instance, is staying virtual through June 30. So we've got to keep that in mind as well. It's possible that you could do something in San Diego, but be virtual for all or part of the summer. But as far as travel and living and stipends and those sorts of things, the answer to that is no, unless there are some monies available through career services and some other organizations on campus, and it just depends upon what the nature of those available scholarships are. So we'd have to do that on a one-off.
Okay, so when someone gets an internship through the Altman program, it's in a different city. For a living situation, that would be, it just depends, you're saying, on the...
It depends on that particular person, whether they qualify for any of those funds. And we had several this past summer do so.
And there are
Okay.
times that we have found that there's inexpensive housing at the local university dorms or things like that. We have some ways to support you finding solutions.
Okay, thank you.
So kind of adding on to that type of question, I live in DC, so obviously I was looking through the application earlier. It's different cities, like New York, Chicago, Cincinnati, blah, blah. So at this point, can we kind of assume that any internships that are provided through the Altman program, that they will most likely be possible to do online?
I don't think we know.
Okay, so it's still just very up in the air.
I don't think they know yet, Nick, on what their operating environment is going to look like next summer. The good news is we found out if we are virtual, we can still be absolutely great as interns. Our hope, though, is all of our hopes are that we can get back into an office setting as well. But I don't think we know yet.
So then if things do, somehow manage to get back to normal by then, are expected to be able to go to said city and perform in person?
Depends on the internship.
Of course.
Right. How many of you would like to unmask and undistance? Nick, what day is that going to happen?
Nobody knows.
There you go. As soon as we can, we will. Good. The team is here for you guys. You guys know what to do. You guys have the notes. You know what the dates are. Keep working hard in your classes and become worthy.
Don't forget to apply to the program by November 15th. If you have any questions, reach out.
Cool. Thank you all. Mark, any final?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you, Jules.
Actually, wait, I have a question.
Oh, darn.
Can I ask it?
Of course you can.
So I guess this is more not general question, but I haven't taken any 300 level courses yet. Is that like what?
Have you done all your 200s?
Yeah. I will have done them by second semester.
Any chance you're going to pass 252? So what are you
Yeah.
planning to take next semester?
A 300 level class? I
Which
don't know
one?
which one.
Yeah. What are your two? What are your two interests?
The creativity and innovation track. I forget which one. Well, this one, 394.
Right, but what's the other one? Creativity and social, startup, or corporate?
Social.
Okay, so my recommendation is because you had your first creative class 252, do social next semester.
Okay.
Give yourself a little time to work on the skills from 252. Give yourself a break from me. Lord knows you need it. And go to the 331. Learn there. Do 331 and 394. And then you can get to 351 the following semester and build in 351 what you did in 331.
Okay.
Social is a lot of fun too. It's a great class. I'm in it right now.
Yeah. I think that's a good flow for you, and it'll give you a lot of interesting things. There, we're teaching you in some ways the same